Holy smokes. That game was closer than I wanted it to be, but the New York Jets capture win two of the 2023 season, beating the Denver Broncos 31-21. This was the Nathaniel Hackett revenge game, the Breece Hall revenge game, to some extent the AVT revenge game. AVT did leave with an injury. Robert Saleh, during his press conference, said they are concerned about the calf. When asked about the Achilles, they said he has to have an MRI. That doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. In regards to the O-line, we saw Becton go down a few times. He wound up finishing the game. Only came out maybe a play or two throughout the game, but definitely had Billy Turner and Max Mitchell in there, and it did not look so good on the offensive line things. But boys and girls, 2-3 headed into Philly week. Philly's coming to town. Jets going to have an opportunity to go even into the bye week. Not too shabby. 2-3 right now. I think that's as good as you can ask for. Could have been better. Look, you could have had, I think we agree, we could have had the Chiefs win last week. If it were not for some extenuating circumstances. Patriots week before that. This Jet team is a good team. This defense is a good defense. Second sack in a row. Second sack. Al Woods sacks Russell Wilson, or creates a penalty in the end zone to get the safety. Awesome. Jets, sloppy game of football overall. Penalty-wise, across the board, Jets had 9 penalties for 71 yards. Broncos had 4 penalties for 31 yards, so really not that bad. Jets lost a fumble, lost an interception. Broncos lost 3 fumbles. The Jets could have lost another 2, if I'm correct. Zach fumbled, he got it back. Gibson fumbled another time, and I think it was, I don't know who it was that jumped on it, but the Jets got it back there as well. So it's a few times that the Jets were able to overcome some potential mistakes, but also create some mistakes on the other side of the, on their defensive side. So when you think about the turnovers for this game, I kind of consider it like a wash, and then obviously you get the big fumble at the end, the hit from behind on Russell Wilson, the ball pops out, Breece Hall fill it in for DJ Reed, and Brandon Eccles goes all the way, scoop and score the other direction. Oh, it felt good. I jumped out of my seat. Felt real good. I'll admit, the first half definitely had me concerned. And I won't say that as far as Zach's performance. Like let's kind of, I can't go to Zach's performance yet. Yo, Breece Hall's a man. Breece Hall's a dude. Yo, talk about revenge game. Breece Hall, 22 carries, 177 yards and a touchdown. He also had 3 receptions for 17 yards. I do have an every touch video for Breece Hall that's going to come out after I do this recap. The every throw video for Zach Wilson is up. So Breece Hall, special stuff out there. This guy, you just give him enough touches. What did I say? He had like 25 touches today. He needs that every single week. Every single week he needs that. I don't need to see any more Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was fine tonight. Breece is the guy. Breece is the dude. Oh, he's just got another gear. Dude, he puts his foot in the ground and people are missing left, right, sideways. Spots where I think there's no hole, he's all the way down. All the way down. Feels good to have a running back, a weapon like that. Jets sorely missed him last year, and he is a huge part of this team right now. If Zach Wilson can kind of figure it out on the passing side of things and get the box a little lighter, this guy's going to run wild. RB1 in the NFL. Breece Hall is absolutely studly. Studly. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping in, please hit that like button for every one of you that pop in here. It'd be nice to know if you appreciate the post-game recap stream. Helps it push it out to the masses. I'm going to give you guys the rest of my monologue, and then I'll get into your comment questions in the chat and all the thoughts going on as far as injuries, as far as everything else. Yo, Quincy Williams is a dog. This dude, the final series, between all the hits on Russ, Quincy Williams is, I can't even say quietly, the dude is a thumper. Every time you see him, he's making a play. Quincy Williams has developed into such a good linebacker, and I can't give full credit to just Saleh, but Saleh, former linebackers, Coach Ulbrich, defensive coordinator. Quincy Williams has blossomed. From the time he got here to right now, he is a star because of the development in coaching and the dedication that he's had to kind of polishing up some of the issues that he had, wrapping up, finishing tackles, not causing some of the penalties. Really, really big time for Quincy Williams. Bryce Huff is an animal. This defensive line, let's talk about them. Holy hell. If it wasn't for Russell running around the way he did, this defense is incredible. Incredible today. We held him to what? 300 and some odd yards? 308 yards, I think is what the number was. Pull it back up. 308 yards. Jets finished the day. Our offense. 173 yards passing, 234 yards on the ground. That's 407 for the day. Nathaniel Hackett, thank you very much. Breece Hall, thank you very much. Yards per play, 6.6. Broncos, 139 yards on the ground, 169 through the air, 308 on the day. That's 5.5 yards per play. I'm sorry, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Ooh, go back home, Sean Payton. Ah, that feels so good. Oh, fuck that guy. Oh, man. I don't get too fired up at stuff, but man, Nathaniel Hackett giving it to Sean Payton. Just giving him the business. Makes me feel good. Time of possession, pretty even. Jets had 34 minutes, 36 seconds. Denver, 25 minutes, 24 seconds. Not too shabby. Jets did not take a snap with the lead this season until I think it was 11 minutes left in the third quarter. Or 7 minutes. It was something like that. It was one of those two. I jotted it down, not looking at the notes right now. But we won! It's okay. It just matters how you end the game. It doesn't matter how you start the game. And the Jets have been a good second half team. A really good second half team. I mean, heck, they just gave up their first second half touchdown today, and it was sort of not really in garbage time, but kind of in garbage time in some capacity. Jets were up by 10, and then they go down and score a touchdown. Ugh. And then you get the Breece Hall, after having the holding penalty in the end zone, then comes back with the scoop and score touchdown to seal a game. Thank you, Hall. Saved yourself. Had me spitting nails at that 2-point conversion. Man. Who else? Garrett Wilson had a few nice catches. Nothing crazy. Before half, you got to score points. We left points on the board. Talk about that for a second. Jets had 3 points easily in field goal range. Stupid play, gets tackled in bounds. Couldn't get the ball snapped. No points before half. Could have had an extra 3 points. 34. Jets red zone defense, first in the NFL. Going to be first again. Jets defense doesn't give up red zone touchdowns. Just long ones that on broken plays and shit. But red zone, Jets bend but don't break. I love it. I absolutely love where this team's at right now. And I think when you look at where this team is kind of headed, right? You got all these dudes. You're dropping some like flies. I'm concerned about the offensive line. Offensive line scared me prior to coming into this game. Scares me a little bit now. At least Mekhi Becton's healthy and out there. I just hope AVT is not seriously hurt. I do not want to lose him for the season. For those of you guys just tuning in, first off, hit the like button. Second off, Robert Saleh did say in the press conference that they are concerned about AVT's calf right now. And the calf, when asked if it was an Achilles, Robert Saleh said, we have to wait and see. We have to wait on the MRI. He was walking on it, but we saw Rodgers walk on his torn Achilles as well. So, man, I do not want to lose AVT for the season because now I'm really worried about his injury history. Mekhi Becton, he's got the knees. AVT's finding all different kinds of ones. So hopefully this is not a major injury for AVT. That would be bad news, Bearcats, for the Jets. Run game, offensive line, quarterback situation, it would be very bad. Do not want to lose AVT. Who else am I missing here? Sauce went down for a little bit. He looked like he was fine. He was riding on the stationary bike. As far as secondary stuff goes, I thought Breece Hall played relatively well today. I think there's probably a little bit more of a shininess towards the end because of the scoop and score there. But without Eccles, without DJ Reed, I thought the Jets secondary held up well. Still got to figure out the quarterbacks running around. Quarterbacks scrambling and running backs have given us a little bit of a problem. Not sure how much I love that. But overall, liked what we got to see. Blitz crew. hops in. What's up, Blitz Crew? He says, anyone still put in stock in Salah injury reports? Yo, I'm hoping Salah injury reports are just all jacked up. I really do. Wrong Verb says, we got to get better, the official team slogan. I'm all right with winning with you got to play better or you got to get better. I'm okay with that. The Jets really could have kicked the ever-living piss out of Denver today. I really think that. The Jets defense came out to play. If the offense could get anything going, in the first half. And look, Zach wasn't perfect in the first half, but there was like situations. Mekhi Becton got dinged for was it a false start or a hold? The false start on Mekhi Becton was not a false start, by the way. I'll go into a video in this probably tomorrow or something along those lines. But there is a snap where Mekhi Becton gets called for a penalty, and it is like I went frame by frame, so like 60 frames in one of those fast speed seconds. So like literally Mekhi Becton's first movement is when the first movement of the ball went. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I know it's a bang play, but it's really irritating that one got called. Jets wound up getting in a lot of third and longs today. They got bailed out on that first false start. I believe it was because it was the first series and they wound up getting the fumble on the ensuing punt return. You had a bought-in hold, bad, like wide open, like in the middle of the field running towards Zach Wilson, like he held his foot, held the edge rusher's foot. 10 yards back. 1st and 20, right off the bat. It gets really hard to call plays like that. When you have such far downs and distances to go, got to fix the penalties. Penalties are number one thing that I want to get shored up. If you can fix the penalties, what did I say before? Jets had 9 penalties for 71 yards. That's the reason this game was as close as it was. Douglas comes in and says, Jets played like they weren't expecting Denver to have 3 starters back on defense. Zach grades at a C, Breece at an A++. Hope no injuries are serious. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Zach is sitting somewhere around a C+. I don't think he breaks into the B's because I wasn't impressed, I guess. He did exactly what I needed him to do. He made plays when he needed to. That the last pass, the interception, it sucks. That's like the second game in a row where you could say like, oh, Zach's giving it away the final little bit here. Jets aren't going to have a shot. Jets lose. It's because of him. I want to get rid of those plays. If he throws that a little more to the outside, ball goes out of bounds, Jets kick a field goal. Now, I still don't feel great about that because now it's a 6-point game. I guess it's better because they got to score a touchdown. But with the amount of time that was left, I kind of thought it was more, I don't know. Just makes me nervous. I want him to eliminate those mistakes. But by and large, I thought Zach with a C makes sense. Douglas, I would agree with you. Christopher says, how do the Jets keep getting screwed by the refs? I mean, we saw the one play with Zach Wilson. The first sack, I think it was, got whacked in the face. No unnecessary roughness. Like, are you serious? Roughing the passer? No? Oh, no, sorry. Jets are on 650 fucking days of no roughing the passer call for us. Got to keep that streak going. Ridiculous. How do you not call that penalty? Blitzkrieg comes in and says, got to thank the Jags for cutting Quincy Williams. If we won't draft early linebackers, we should work all the other teams' cast-offs, i.e. Surratt. Yeah, it sounds like Salah really likes Surratt. I would be surprised if Mosley is here next year unless he takes like a big pay cut. I wouldn't mind seeing him here next year. I really wouldn't. I think veteran leadership is huge. I don't want to create a hole at the linebacker position, but he's also getting paid a crap ton of money right now. Quincy looks good. Surratt's going to be good. You still got Sherwood. There's a lot of guys at this linebacking core that all of a sudden does not look like the weakness that a lot of us felt like it was at the beginning of the season. Alex, the Jets fan, says, I think Zach played well. Not a terrible game. Go D. Yeah, I would agree. Zach played well. Played fine. I would say fine. Well is relative, I guess. Well for him, fine overall. I would say fine performance. No issues here with Zach aside from the end of half and end of game. Those two things, obviously, you got to get 3 points at the end of half, and you got to be able to get those 3 points at the end of the game. So 6 points really left off the board here for the New York Jets. J Dubs says, I hope we didn't lose Vera Tucker for the season. Becton is a warrior. I'm glad Becton went back out there. AVT, Coach Salah says it's a calf injury. They are concerned about it. When followed up and asked about an Achilles, he said we have to wait on the MRI. So fingers crossed it's not Achilles. They usually know that pretty quickly. And I would think we got some Twitter doctors already in there looking at the leg. So hopefully we get some good news. I don't want to see the snap that we saw with the Rodgers injury. Jake comes in and says, great second half these past 2 games. Yeah, it feels like our second half adjustments over the course of the season have been really, really good. With the exception of maybe like, well, I guess I would say even Dallas, right? We didn't give up a second half touchdown. So there's that. But overall, really like what our adjustments are in game. I feel like that's a nice upgrade from where we were in the past. Knifey Spoony says, ugly win, but we take it. Had the over on yards for both Zach and Garrett in my parlay. Came up a few yards short on both. That INT cost me $500. Ooh, Knifey Spoony. That's brutal. I had the over on Breece for like everything. I think I took the over on Cook, but I think it was only like 26 yards. I don't know. What did Cook actually finish with? Now I got to look. Cook 23 yards. Oh, but did it include rushing yards too or receiving yards? He didn't get any reception. Damn it. Damn it. I got to stop betting on Cook. Screwing me right now. Yeah, the interception is rough. I did go on the over for rushing yards for Zach, which I do think he got on that. I think it was 12. Yeah, and he got 26. Zach on the over for the rushing yards is a really good play on a consistent basis. He's sneaky good with his legs. Jet fans know it. Rest of the league doesn't seem to really be aware of it. I feel like his over-under is usually like 13 to 21 yards. TJ, is there anyone that we could possibly replace AVT with on the market if necessary? Feels pretty clear he's going to be missing time. The nice thing is we have the AVT injury coming in with the Eagles game, and then you have a bye, so you got some extended time to figure it out, but you also got to bring in an offensive lineman right now. Right now. Because this is the best time to try and get your guy up to speed. Got to bring in an offensive lineman. La'el Collins, I don't know if he's signed. If he's sitting out there, bring him in. Guys, let me know if there's an offensive tackle that you guys feel like the Jets should go after because I'm concerned. Or are you happy with Max Mitchell? Are you happy with Billy Turner? Carter Warren's back. Maybe he's the dude. No. I think Jets need to bring in an offensive tackle right now so that way you don't have to come out of the bye if AVT's not healthy. You at least got someone in the wings. Kaz says, every time Ruckert was out there blocking, a hole was there for Breece. Do you agree? Dalvin Cook, what do you think? Dalvin Cook, I don't need to see any more of. If Dalvin Cook becomes somewhat of a commodity at the trade deadline, like let's say there's a team out there that wants to give us a 7th round pick for Dalvin Cook, I would do that. I would have no problem with that. I would move on from Dalvin Cook at this particular point in time. I don't think he's good enough in the event Breece goes down that I would rely on him. And that's the reason I brought Cook in. Like I wanted Cook here so that way I felt better when it came time to possibly have to rely on him instead of Breece in case Breece went down or had a setback or something along those lines. So I'm done with Dalvin Cook. Would move him. As far as Ruckert needs to be on the field all the time. Dude is a nasty blocker. He can catch. Having Uzama and Uzama and Conklin. Conklin's been good. Conklin's been more of the pass catcher, which we sort of expected. I like Uzama a lot. Big fan of Uzama. But I want to see more of Ruckert. I really do. And I think you'll start to see him break out more and more, and it's going to be harder to keep this kid on the bench. Big fan of Ruckert. Card Cave Central and Douglas, I'm going to get back to you in just a second. Mike Arena dropping in with a 20 spot. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. He said, Hall is a stud. Let him run. And he was amazing. Dude, Breece Hall. Breece, the Beast box. Look at this. Breece Hall. Throwing you a little commercial action right here. Bam! If you haven't gotten your box of Breece, the Beast box cereal, it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, kind of. Cinnamon Toasted Squares. You should totally do it because every box raises money for underprivileged sports programs, I think is what it's raising money for. Good cause. And it's our guy, and he's on a cereal box. Last one I had was Wayne Corbett. I had Corbett Crunch back in the day. Let's go. Breece Hall's the man. I should throw his jersey on. I have his jersey in the closet. I was like all sorts of amped up, and I forgot to do anything. Card Cave Central says, best part of the game was the tweets from Jets Twitter. They went hard. Love the unity around Hackett after the game. Yo, Sean Payton, suck one. Denver, eat a fat one. Oh, man, yo, it feels good. So during training camp, there was a tweet that went out that I put out that said someone yelled out to Hackett, Screw Sean Payton, or Sean Payton's a scrub. And Hack goes, finger up. From that point forward, I knew we were winning this game. Nathaniel Hackett's got some juice to him. I'm glad the players like playing for him. I wish he would. Dude, I don't like the McCall Hardman stuff. Hardman's got to be available. Too much speed to not have him on the field. Gibson, keep your hands on the ball. Gibson dropping those 2 fumbles, muffing those 2 punts. Not making me feel super comfy. But love me some Hackett. Douglas comes in. Douglas says, refs have one too many Mormon missionaries knocking on their door. Yeah, it feels like someone pissed in their Cheerios. Whoever it is. Someone standing on top of the Empire State Building. Refs coming out of the NFL office. That's what must be happening. Jets can't get a call. we could not get a call to save our lives. How we don't have a single roughing the passer call in the last year and a half, it's like a statistical anomaly. I feel like the average is about 7 to 8 per team per year. We're like 14 short. Or no, 10 short, right? Math is hard. 2021 was the last time we had a roughing the passer called in favor of us. It was against Miami, beginning of December, I believe. Absolutely ridiculous. The auto zone, 4 sacks, finally some pass rush with this talent. So it's not, I do like that Lawson was deactivated. I think that was big time. I like that McDonald got on the field more, but our main edge rushers, 100% all day. Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, those guys are elite. John Franklin Myers pushed his guy back a bunch of times. I want to see Huff get re-signed. I really, really do. The guy is an elite pass rusher. You don't let elite pass rushers go. I don't care if he doesn't play many of the rundowns. Figure it the fuck out. You cannot leave Huff to leave at the end of the season. I don't want the draft pick that you're going to get for him. I want to retain him. I would rather use the franchise tag on him or Becton. I don't want to have to use the franchise tag at all. I want us to re-sign both players. I want to bring Becton back for less than the tag. I want to bring back Huff back for less than the tag. But I think it's going to be tough. Blitz Crew says, La'el Collins, bring him in. Ready, post-buy. I would bring him in or some other tackle of your choice. Doesn't have to be him, but as far as like guys that I'm currently aware of, that's the guy I would look at. I would say that guy right there was just starting. At one point, he was considered a top 5 draft pick prior to like some wacky accusations in college that caused him to go undrafted. This guy was like definitely a first-round pick. I think he was a top 10 pick. Wound up going undrafted, got to select the Cowboys, wound up leaving, going to the Bengals, kind of fell out of favor there. I'll be honest, I have not kept up with him since Dallas. There's probably some concern there because you don't allow good offensive linemen to just hit the open market. Now, I do think there was some kind of cap restraints that caused some factors there in Cincinnati, but I don't know all the ins and outs on that. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper before I give you any concrete stuff. But I like La'el Collins. Charles, what's up, dude? He says, what's good, everybody? It feels good to win again, doesn't it? Anyways, for the Jets to win on my parents' 34th wedding anniversary makes it better. Oh, tell your parents we said happy wedding anniversary. Means a lot. Means a lot. David D says, Quebec Crunch was good. Right, it was. Jets Best said, that lazy half-ass spike drove me insane. Talking about at the end of the half, it was very, like, slow-mo. Like, I don't know. I feel like you just have everyone in line. Like, why are you running Garrett all the way to the other side of the field? I don't know. When everyone just stay as close as you can to the line of scrimmage and just get up there and snap the damn ball. Honestly, they shouldn't have even had to spike the ball. The ball should have gone out of the back of the end zone, should have been incomplete pass, whatever it is, should not have been caught in bounds. Zach should have thrown it away. That's on Zach. Ali says, yes, we should bring Collins. He's better than any of our right tackles we have besides AVT. Ali also says, why didn't the Jets use play action on first down? They did at the end of the game. They actually, that's the big play they had to Garrett Wilson was play action. So it was nice to see that. I would like to see it more frequently, especially when Breece is like running wild on them. They think he's going to get the ball every damn time. But now you'll be able to run play action to open up some of the pass, potentially. That's what we're hoping. Julio says, why didn't Hackett build on last week's performance? Went back to being tentative with Wilson. Thank the Lord for Breece. Wilson needs to be in a rhythm to do well. Yes, I agree. I would play up tempo. Let him go. Let him like run hurry up. You don't have to snap it in a hurry, but get up to the line in a hurry so Zach can scan the field. Maybe he's running like Windows 95. It just takes a little processing time. Maybe that's all you got to do. Just a little bit of processing. See what the defense is doing out there. Maybe he can make some adjustments at the line, understand what he's seeing. And it seems like the up-tempo kind of makes him play quicker. Like when he doesn't have to think. When he's throwing the ball in under 2.5 seconds, he's like damn near perfect. When he starts holding the ball, that's when you run into issues. And that's when you start getting the big sacks. That's when you start getting fumbles. That's when you start trying to do a little too much. Pete Kenny says Huff needs to get paid what he wants. Pay that man. Please don't rake us over the coals. Fins fan says, congrats on barely beating the Broncos. Oh, did you beat the Bills? Because the Jets beat the Bills. Oh. You guys they were missing 3 of their players on defense when you guys played them. Jets left 6 points on the board. It could have been a 37-21 game. Come on now. Get out of here. Jets won. Congratulations on only beating the Giants by like 2 touchdowns. They've scored what? Fucking 5 points a week? Zachary says Gibson only dropped 1 punt. The other was a penalty. Defender his the ball before he could catch it. No, didn't he fumble? He fumbled one after running, and then he muffed one. Am I wrong on that? I think it was 2. Thought it was 2. Could be wrong. Gilbert hops in there with a dollar drooly face. Thank you. Much appreciated. J.R. Martinez says, what's going on with Schweitzer? I'm sure he's going to see some time. Can Tippmann play tackle? We just need a tackle. Let's use half of Mackay on the left side and the other half of him on the right side. He's big enough to make 2 humans. Let's just do that. Right? Let's move Bikini Bottom over there. Cuca Lake says they chose Jonah Williams and Orlando Brown Jr. and re-signed Burrow over keeping Collins. Yes, financial decision. Rashad comes in and says, not to rain on Zach's parade, but he must protect the ball. He must learn when to throw the ball to the open receiver, not just to Wilson all the time. Teams are looking Wilson to Wilson. It's because Wilson's so good that 9 times out of 10, if you let it rip to him, he's going to come down with the ball. More often than not. As long as you put it in a relatively catchable position, Garrett Wilson's coming down with that ball. And that's that trust that Zach Wilson has built up. So I don't mind him going to him. He sees one-on-one, go to Garrett every time. Every time. Doesn't matter. Every time, go to Garrett on one-on-one. Now, as far as the rest of the team, Lazard has looked good. He's had a really nice toe drag today. He had Conklin for that nice, long, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling run that he had after the reception, and he had like 2 or 3 of those. Conklin's looking pretty good. If Zach can get in a rhythm, and we're not getting that like 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15, as long as we're not seeing that, this team's going to be pretty good. North of the 45 said somebody gifted the Broncos 14 seconds in the 4th quarter after the game clock stopped at 3:24. I did not catch that. Interesting. Kilopatra says, Zach needs to be under center immediately. I don't mind him being in the shotgun. I really don't. Because it seems like running out of the shotgun has been relatively decent. I'm going to have to go back. I do have the every run video coming out tonight. So that'll be up after this stream. We'll go for about an hour here, kind of taking your questions. Linky says, La'el Collins not signing yet makes me think there's some off-the-field stuff. Yeah, that's always the concern when guys kind of sit around a little bit after being cut. Collins need to get cleared by his doctor, says Cuca Lake. Bonkertons says, LOL, people getting on Sauce for not catching a ball that meant nothing at the end of the game. Why? Like the interception, the dropped interception on the Hail Mary that didn't mean anything. Yeah, no, it's all right. Just knock it down. Now, it did look like he was trying to catch it, which maybe you're giving him a little bit, not you, but people are giving him a little shit for. He should have just tried to knock it down the whole time. He was trying to pad his stats and he dropped it. That's what happened. It's okay. We love him. Radimus says, that's what I'm saying. He flourishes in a hurry-up offense. Yes, Zach does. James says, give some credit to Joe Douglas for Quincy and the D-line. Yes, I love Joe Douglas. I am not a Joe Douglas hater. I am so pro Joe Douglas. It's like bad. I'm probably blinded by some of the stuff that he's done that's so good that I don't see the bad occasionally. But Quincy Williams, John Franklin Myers, I mean, Berrios was good for us for a little bit there. You scoop up, God, like just a ton of guys. Bryce Huff, like undrafted free agents. He has an eye for talent. He really does. Johnsy says, Zach and the play calling was terrible. The win is on the defense. Yes, on the defense and the running game, 100%. I thought Zach was fine. Like, fine. This should have been a game that he wowed us. This is not a defense that you should be like, oh, wow, 400. You got 400 yards. That's a checkbox for me. That is not oh, wow, that was a good performance. That was, yes, that's all you, that's what you needed to do. That is it. I would love to see him have like an all-out game. But this to me was definitely on the defense. Look, 2 points from the defense with the safety. Zach screwed up 6 points on either side for at halftime and at the end of the game. So that's, if you want to talk about it that way. Not to mention the fumbled punt from Denver at the beginning that kind of bailed us out, that got us 3 points. So all of a sudden you're talking 2 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. That's 11 points right there. That's the game. The defense and like a little bit of some luckery, that could have been an 11-point swing. Now, obviously, we hit the punt returner to cause the fumble and all the stuff that goes on and on. Whatever. The offense did not play well, aside from Breece Hall. Offensive line, so-so. Not bad. Wide receivers, got to look at the all-22. Zach, not impressed, thought he played fine. He's going to start against Philadelphia. As long as he plays similarly, like from obviously, let's clean up the turnovers. No turnover. And then let's score some more. That's really what it is. We got to get started earlier in the game. I can't take any more of these 3-and-outs. I feel like we're always getting 3-and-outs. Blitzcrew says Collins was out with an ACL MCL injury last December, now post-surgery and reportedly ready now. Better call him. Randy says Bryce Huff is elite beast. Hall is a Hall of Famer. He hasn't even played a full season yet. Breece Hall has 7 games last year? He's got 6 this year? 5 this year. I mean, you look at his stats through just those games, they're incredible. Breece Hall on like an average yards per touch is insane. He was 6.5 coming into the game, and I think he's got more now. He was 6.5 yards per rush heading into today's game. And he had what? Was it 22 carries? 22 carries, 177 yards. He had an average of 8 yards a carry today. 8 yards a carry. When you add that to 6.5, that goes up, not down. Damn, Breece Hall. Yo. Breece Hall's a dog. Scott says AVT should never, ever, 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 forever allow AVT to play in Denver ever again. I agree. Done with this bullshit getting hurt stuff. Randy says we need to make him Beast Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got to get there. Just got to stay healthy. If this guy stays healthy, the world's his oyster. Breece is so damn good. So good. Unreal. He single-handedly made us have a season last year. We were 5-1 riding his ass. Then we got hurt. I think that's what it was. We're 5-1 at that point? I think we're 5-1. No, not 5-1, but you know what I'm trying to say. We got Breece, Hall, Huff, Hall. So much stuff going on. JJ says, bad clock management and fumbles are my critiques for Zach for this week. I 100% agree. Clock management I thought was bad. Turnovers I thought were worse. Those are the two things. Fumbles, I mean, look, he got the ball back. The Jets could have probably had at least 2 more turnovers. This game could have gone very differently. Very differently. You have to be able to protect the ball. Have to be able to protect the ball. And honestly, the one where he ran and got hit from behind, I don't think he was down. I think that ball started coming out a little bit earlier. Luckily, the refs blew the play dead, and the Jets did have the fumble at the end of it anyway, so it was kind of like a non-issue. But you could count that one in there too. John says, Denver is always a tough place to play. This is a solid win. This is a solid win. I just don't want to lose AVT for the year. I really hope everything's all right with him. Just shut him down till after the bye. Let's get him right. CJ says, we need to sign La'el Collins right now, please. I think we need to have a phone call into him right now. 100%. I'm right there with you. Barney says, Beast was a beast. Bryce was nice. Hall or Huff. Both. Say it twice. Oh, I'm glad I said that in the cadence of Cat in the Hat, because it definitely was a Cat in the Hat level rhyme, Mr. Barney Miller. Good for you. I appreciate that. That made me smile. I like those when they get me like that. Matthew Y says, can Hard Knocks favor Tenzel Smart convert offense and play tackle? Obviously kind of kidding. And I know it's not easy to switch positions, but would love to see him get a shot somewhere. I don't know if he's on our practice squad anymore. I think we cut him loose. Favarian Vengeance says, the Zach is trash crowd should save that for the offseason. Obviously, it's Zach or bust for this season. It's definitely Zach or bust right now. We do have Simeon sitting behind him, so if he does kind of turn into a pumpkin and looks really bad, like today wasn't a really bad performance for Zach. It wasn't a good one, but he's going to have like a Patriots level kind of bullshittery kind of happen to him for us to put Trevor Simeon in. But I don't think the Jets want to waste a good year of young talent. I think that's the optics they want to avoid. So while I do think Zach is probably here ride or die for the rest of the season, I think they could put Trevor Simeon in like a doomsday sort of situation. Randy says Huff needs to get the bag right now. They should be trying to sign him right now. 100%. 100%. Brian Bogan says, let's get some likes for the Garrett Wilson power slide. Come on. Hit those like buttons. We got over 600 people in here and only 247 likes. If you appreciate what you see on the channel, boy, it would mean a whole lot. And if you're playing Underdog Fantasy, let's just talk about that for a second. Underdog Fantasy, click on the link in the description. Sign up with code JETS247. Make your first deposit, and they'll match it 100% up to $100. I've had a blast doing it. Now, I've been screwed trying to win like some huge multipliers. I've been going for the 20 times multipliers. You get 5 different things right, highers and lowers. And the Breece and Cook higher picks at the beginning part of the season have really screwed me. Although I hit my higher this week, but I think I missed on one of the other ones, so I'm not going to get it. But it's been a lot of fun. So if you want to support the channel, if you're trying to find a way to do it, obviously merch store, obviously super chats, just watching the videos, hanging out, dropping a little likes free. But if you like spending a little bit of money and you want to support one of the sponsors of the show, maybe they continue to support the show, and we keep these lights on just a little bit longer. So thank you. Randy says, Quincy, Breece, Sauce, all are Pro Bowlers. I would say so right now. I don't know. I'm trying to think who else you could maybe lump in there. If Reed keeps having the season he's having, I think there's an argument for him. Quincy, I like that you had him on there. Breece, Sauce. Garrett's probably on that cusp. He's had some really wild catches. He should be good enough to be able to get it, but I don't know if our quarterback's going to be good enough to get him to that point. That's kind of what's frustrating. Like Garrett's going to miss out on some personal accolades because Zach hasn't been playing great. Max says, much needed Jermaine Johnson, good game. I thought Jermaine has looked good pretty much all season. This was, I think, his most dominant game to date. I'm excited to see what the PFF grades are. Not that I take a ton of stock into Pro Football Focus, but when it works out for the Jets, then they're right. When we have bad scores, I'm like, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. Pro Football Focus, get the fuck out of here. Forever On says, glad we got the win, but this game should not have been this close. We can win with Wilson 100%, but can we get fucking creative in the red zone? Well, that's what's crazy, right? Look at the last 3 games. Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos. Jets were easily the better team in all those games outside the quarterback position. If you have stable quarterback play, consistently stable quarterback play, I think the Jets are winning probably all 3 of those games. Obviously, we lost 2 of the 3. I would like to see a little more creativity. I want to see a little bit more energy on offense. There was one play from Garrett that got us a first down where they sent him in motion, and it reminded me of the Tyreek Hill type plays that they run in Miami where they get him moving with some speed. It sets up this natural pick with the way the receivers move, and then it's an easy first down for Garrett Wilson. We should be doing a lot more of movement that gets guys open without having to beat your man in press coverage. Now, Garrett can beat his man in press coverage. I'm not concerned about that. But when your offensive line can't hold that long, or you're worried about Zach thinking too long, get your guys open quicker. Seems easy, but we make it difficult. Randy comes in. Randy says, Becton is balling. So happy he's back. He's looked good. I'm really happy with how Becton, obviously Breece coming back was huge. But Becton coming back and playing the way he's playing right now. And then I saw him go down twice today, and I was like, I don't love this. I don't love this. I feel like we could have a zillion offensive linemen, and every single one of them is going to wind up getting hurt at some point. But Becton has looked good. He has played well. I've enjoyed what we've gotten out of Mekhi Becton so far. Hugo Lake says Tippmann is fine. Yes, it looks like he could have gone back into the game at the end of the game there, is what Salah says. AVT is the big one we got to worry about. Sean says, but calf is an area of concern. Yes. So AVT's calf is an area of concern because the calf is attached to an Achilles, and the way that the question was followed up was, are you concerned about the Achilles? And Salah says we have to wait on the MRI. If you weren't concerned about the Achilles, you'd say no. We are not concerned about the Achilles. They're clearly concerned about it, and I think they think it's serious. Gohan Angered says, JJ tends to get held a lot, which doesn't help. Yes, him and Huff are held all the time, and none of them get called. None of them get called. Omar says, Breece was a beast. Zach was good. We get better as the game goes on. We definitely do. We wear teams down. Now, if we could just get some of those longer drives earlier in games, you'd wear them down earlier and start being a little more effective earlier. Chris says, ugly win. They've been starting off so flat on offense and defense. Not going to win many games if they keep starting off that way. No, especially look, the argument is once you get past Philly, the rest of the games aren't terrible, but you got to start scoring points. You got to start scoring points. If the Jets just score league average, which is 23 points a game, you're winning 18 out of the last 21 games or something along those lines. Crazy. Chris says, Garrett Wilson let the ball go through his hands, can't put that interception on Zach Wilson. It was a poorly thrown ball. I think Garrett should have been able to at least deflect it down, but I do blame Zach for putting it in position to be intercepted. I do blame Zach a little bit for the incomplete pass to Garrett before in the red zone. I don't think it was before half. It was definitely before half, but it was early on in the game where Zach, I think, put a little too much pepper on it, hit Garrett in the hands, but it was kind of at helmet level, above his head. And I think based on when Zach threw it, Garrett was never going to get the touchdown. But if he had thrown it earlier, I think Garrett likely kind of strolls right in. So I liked Garrett today. Max says Jermaine has been a very good run defender all year, but weeks 1 through 4 was very discouraging as a pass rusher. See, I didn't get maybe discouraging a little bit. I liked what he's been doing. He reminds me of an all-encompassing, well-rounded edge rusher. Like not hyper-focused like Huff, where Huff is super specialized. But if you look at all the metrics that edge rushers are being shown and whatnot, Jermaine Johnson is on the positive end of that spectrum. Like we've seen the Sauce one where Sauce is all the way far right. No one's even close to him. Huff and Jermaine Johnson are kind of like that. Huff is obviously a lot better. But JJ's been good too. Joe says the Jets' Achilles heel this season is actually Achilles heels. Yes, we need cadaver Achilles everywhere. This offseason, everyone gets 2 Achilles in each leg. Mandatory. We're going to attach 2 Achilles. I'm surprised Rodgers didn't try that. They're like, okay, this is the medical stuff right here, and we're gonna have this really cool contraption for your Achilles. But what if we just add a second one? What happens if you just make a second Achilles? Can you do that? We should do that to all our players. Double ACLs, double Achilles everywhere. Everyone gets one. Like Oprah. Jim Pox says they need to draw a penalty when being held. Jermaine Johnson tried to in the Chiefs game. He was literally flailing around, smacking the dude on the head, trying to get a flag. They're like, sorry. Patty Mahomes gets the call every time. Every time. Knifey Spoony says, Hardman inactive. Is he part of our plans? If he's not, you got to trade him. But man, it really, really sucks. Really sucks that we're not seeing him active on the field. It feels like he did something wrong. Or they just like a lot of other players better than him, because he provides a speed that defenses need to account for. And I think it's irresponsible for us to not be utilizing it. Like, deactivate Cook's ass. Put Hardman out there. Save us some money. I'm sure if Cook hits some incentive, I don't know if he's going to hit the incentives. But I'd rather see Hardman out there. Hugo Lake says, how did Mitchell look? He seemed okay from what I saw. I think I'm severely skewed by the kind of hit that Zach took the first play he came in, and it was that sort of out of bounds pass to Garrett Wilson. I think I'm skewed from that, so I'm just hoping we don't have to see him there too long. Jay Spector says 2 touchdowns instead of field goals puts the Jets up a 40 spot on the Broncos. 2 touchdowns instead of field goals. Well, 4, yeah, pretty close. A lot of points. Would love to see a 40 spot. Stud City bringing up some facts. Did y'all notice that Tomlinson has been playing better when Dwayne Brown isn't next to him? Yeah, we never got to see Laken Tomlinson next to Mekhi Becton. And now we're seeing it. Becton's playing really well. Tomlinson's looking pretty good. He got caught on a stunt today that I think caused a sack. I have to go back and watch. There was one that kind of had him backpedaling a bit. But overall, I have liked where he's been. And he's under contract for next year, so you don't have to move on from him. Sean says we should trade Lawson, and Huff is our main man. I would love to trade Lawson. I don't know what his trade market's going to be. But if the Jets could eat some salary cap to facilitate some type of mid-round pick, like a 5th rounder or something like that, I would make that trade. We're not using him anyway. Omar says, I don't blame Zach for the interception. We did what we as fans wanted. When you need it, you go to number 1. I have no problem with that. Next time Garrett catches it and scores, let's go Jets. Yeah, I have no problem with the call. I just have a problem with the placement. Zach should have thrown it on the outside shoulder, not the inside shoulder. The outside shoulder, at least if it gets tipped, it's going out of bounds. He put it in a position to get intercepted. So I do blame Zach for that. I think Garrett could have fought a little bit harder, But by and large, that interception is on Zach. He's got to play better. Scott V says, paying attention to see how the 49ers handle Micah Parsons tonight. Yeah, I want to keep an eye on that. 9 o'clock, I'm going to hop off here, and then I'm going to just sit and watch the game. Going to enjoy the rest of my night. Feels good. And Nana Moose says, I'm trying to understand why Zach is bad in the red zone. We have one of the best NFL defenses for him to practice against, and he's not getting touchdowns in practice. What the hell is going on? I feel like we're not taking many snaps like in the red zone. I feel like a lot of our kicks are pretty far out. The red zone offense has not been good. Has not been good. Some of it has been penalties. We saw a holding penalty on McGovern, was it? That took us 10 yards back? I think it was McGovern. So some of it is getting into weird downs and distances, and I don't know. I'd love to see us throw the ball more on first down. Or go play action, which is obviously still a pass, but you appear like you're running it because we run it all the time on first down for the most part. Joseph comes in. Thank you, Joseph. Joseph says, if the red zone play calling was better, we cruise to a win, and we are praising the Zach Wilson performance if he connects for 1 or 2 tutties. I agree. I felt like Hackett regressed a little bit today because they wanted to be safe because it was working with Breece, which is fine for today, but you should have been dominant against a bad Denver defense. They got some players back, but this was a game you really could have opened up a can of whoop ass on, and I would have loved to have seen it. I would say this game, like, it checks a box, like, okay, yes, we won, but I'm not really feeling warm and fuzzy about it overall. It almost feels like the same Denver game from last year. This one was better, but I would say gives me a similar-ish feeling. John says, what about the hit to the head on Zach Wilson in the first series? Dude, I lost my mind. I was losing my cool. What the hell? How are you allowed to hit our quarterback in the head? Like, blatant. Why is that not a reviewable penalty? There's standards for it, right? Like, okay, you cannot hit the quarterback in the head. Did the guy hit the quarterback in the head? If you can answer that on a replay, fucking review it. It's just, make it reviewable. Stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. I feel like you can tell intent. Not that he intentionally went for the head or anything, but like in other situations, you can tell intent on certain things, like a roughing call or maybe a pass interference type call. And those are things that are judgment calls in the time of it happening. Why can't you make a judgment call after it's happened when you have replays and shit? I wish they would do it. Jay Spector says, D started playing well. They played conservative. Didn't want Zach making a mistake. Yes, it definitely felt like they were hiding Zach again, which gives me the not so warm and fuzzies. This feels very much like the beginning of last year's Zach Wilson, more than it feels like a progression from last week's Zach Wilson. Now, Zach ultimately didn't make the critical mistake. The interception, while bad, not overly horrible. I don't know. There's a lot left out there for sure. A lot left out there. Anonymous says, someone was trying to convince me Sanchez was good. I humored them and looked up his stats. I don't know what in hell they were talking about. I thought Sanchez played well year 2. He could have been a lot better. I thought he was going to build off year 2, and he didn't. And, the rest kind of was history. Julio says, shackled Zach again, just poor performance by this coaching staff. I will say coaching has definitely been a part of my irritation so far this season. I would say Zach leads the way overall, but there's been plenty of play calls, plenty of non-adjustments. There's been enough funky stuff that I'm like, I don't love that. But I would put Zach on the top of my list for things I'm a little irritated about. Kevin Lowe says, we got to cut out the penalties. Completely agree. Stud City says, it was so funny seeing Peyton barking at Russ on that scoop and score like New York Giants head coach barked at Daniel Jones last week. Yeah, you got to see Daboll go off on Daniel Jones last week. This time around, Sean Payton getting in Russ's face. Good. I hope they implode. Couldn't happen to a shitter team. Sorry. Frustrated, but happy. Blitz Crew comes in and says, think Hackett was conservative because it was Denver and wanted to win. Definitely more conservative than last week. I guess next week will tell us. Yeah, maybe he was a little more conservative because they wanted to try and guarantee a win for Hackett. But when you play that prevent style of gameplay, I won't even say just defense because defense played fine, but it was like a prevent offense almost. Like, don't prevent your quarterback from making the mistake. That's what it felt like. I want to see Zach let it rip. I really do. But the argument is, if you can rely on your running game and he can make just enough plays, is that enough? I just don't know if you can have this level of performance against Philadelphia and not get thumped. Like, you can't make the mental errors. You can't have the penalties. You can't have the turnovers. You can't have the ball coming loose. We got two of them back. Those very easily could have bounced the other way, and this game is totally different. Totally different. Joe S. says Hall was running great. B2B. Hey, boys. Our Jets won. Feels good, right? I'm excited to do the call-in show tomorrow. Always gets me excited. After W. Linky says, I 100% agree with Blitz Crew on the conservative play calling by Hackett. JJ says, a few good games. Yes, some of the best games you experienced as a fan. Yeah, 100%. Sanchez? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, I have witnessed some really good games. I was at the Monday Night Miracle when we came back against Miami. I was at the game that got us into the playoffs when we had to beat Brett Favre and the Packers when we didn't think we had a shot in 2002. Those are two games that I will always remember. I was at the divisional round playoff game against Jacksonville when we won and the confetti's falling down. I was at a bunch of good games. But Sanchez gave me a bunch of good ones on those two playoff runs. Zachary Pierce says, I thought Zach played fine. The mistakes weren't entirely on him. O-line was limited due to injuries and penalties were awful. Yeah, I think I'm probably willing to give Zach a little bit more of a pass because of some of the shakiness from the play calling, a little bit of shakiness from the offensive line play, a little bit of shakiness from the penalty perspective. If we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, we are a tough team to beat. John B. says, I disagree with the coaching negativity. We were running the ball well. Why not continue running the ball with the lead? Well, I think up until the 72-yard run by Breece, I don't think we were running particularly well. I'd have to look and see what his average was before then. I'll be honest, I don't actually know off the top of my head. But I would like to see a little more movement pre-snap. I thought rolling Zach out last week was a better look. I thought Zach looked more comfortable last week. Why didn't he look as comfortable this week against a, seemingly worse opponent, unless you're under the impression that the Chiefs slept on us and it was a trap game for them and, we're really playing to the level that we should be now, maybe? I don't know. I'm fine with coaching, but overall there's been some things that I'm like, I'd love to see a little bit better there. But I think Zach, by and large, for the first part of the season, he's been more of what's holding us back, today included. But I would say today was a checkbox for Zach. This was game manager. Just don't cause the turnovers. Oreo says, unacceptable for this offense to only put up 24 points on the worst defense in the NFL, and 18 of those points were field goals. You are correct. 100% correct. I don't have anything to say. Just going to keep it up on the screen because people need to fucking read this. It's true. You should have had far more points than what we had today. Joseph says, this team is progressing. The O-line play has been getting better, and Zach is looking much more comfortable. This team is still young and learning. Zach does look more comfortable overall. I thought he looked better last week. This week, we were able to rely on the running game. Hopefully, this will allow us to open up the play action a little bit more, which should hopefully help Zach even further. B2B says, it's hard to win in the NFL. I'm happy we won. Let's be happy and use the other live shows to worry about the Eagles. I am happy. I am looking forward to the Eagles. I don't know what the spread is. I would imagine the Jets are probably going to be like 6.5-point dogs. You got to think Philly's got to be favored right now. We've never beaten Philly. Man, I would love to go into the bye week 3-3. I would be feeling real good about the rest of the season if we go into the bye week 3-3. King Green King says, I hope we really put our big boy pants on next week. I 100% hope we do too. Jonathan says, run, pass, play calling is abysmal. We used to call Paul Hackett run, pass, punt. That's what it was. Run, pass, punt. I want to see play action pass. Screen pass, run. Or, mix it up a little bit. I want to, Zach didn't have 40 throws like he did last week. Zach only had 26. Now, that's a good percentage. 19 of 26. What does that work out to percentage-wise? 19 divided by 26. 73%. Zach's a 70% completion. Each of the last 2 weeks. That's good. Keep his completion percentage high. I will admit that was better than I actually thought it was. I thought it was going to be lower. And I did the every throw video. I thought we could have had a better game. For that level of completion percentage, I would have thought it would have been even better. But if you can keep him around 70% week in and week out, Hackett, you're doing your job. Zach, you're doing your job. Just don't turn the ball over. As long as you don't turn the ball over, we're going to win a lot of fucking games. This is a talented friggin' team. Flight Right says, everyone has to remember we are playing with our backup quarterback. We are getting backup quarterback results. I think that's important. Now, there is the caveat of, okay, we drafted Zach Wilson to be the starter, but we also invested a lot of money into Aaron Rodgers to be the starter. We only got 4 games out of it. So I'm with you, Flight Right. When people say, this is ridiculous. The Jets are this rank they're 26th out of 32. All right, well, how many of those 25 other teams in front of us are using a backup quarterback? I'll sit and wait. You tell me. And then they're like, well, Zach could have been your starter. Shut up. I know. Still a backup quarterback. Greg says, Philly will allow us to see if our defense is as elite as we think. Based on the performance we played against Patrick Mahomes, I feel like we're feeling pretty elite right now. I will say this. Going into the season, I felt like Philadelphia provided the hardest test from a style of play that they play that could give us the hardest test our defense has seen. Does that make sense? I am most afraid to play Philly of any team in the NFL. Miami's creeping up there. Miami with their speed is definitely more concerning. I didn't think they were going to be as big of a factor right off the bat. I'm more afraid of Philly, but we got to get past Miami. We got 2 games against Miami. Jonathan says, play calling in the red zone is what killed us. Play action or screen passes would have got us all those touchdowns. It feels like play action was the way to go. They'd run 2 plays right into the center of the offensive line, get a total of 6 yards, and then it'd be 3rd and 4, and then we get a holding call or a false start, and then it's 3rd and 9, and they're like, all right, well, there goes any thought of where things could possibly go. If you clean up the penalties, if the Jets can end games with 2 penalties or something along those lines, it's going to feel a lot more cohesive because you're going to have more sustained drives. We get a lot of holding or false start penalties. But I said earlier in the stream, the false start on Becton early on in the game was not his fault. When you go frame by frame, the ball was actually snapped at the same exact time that he flinched. He started his rep at the perfect exact time. He was too fast. Randy says, Ryan, ignore the haters calling themselves fans. That's all right. Haters are fans too. It's okay. I understand. We can both disagree. Where we can disagree as a fan base on how we want things to get done. Our main goal at the end of the year, or at the end of the day, is to get a win. We all want to see the Jets get better in whatever capacity. We just have different ideas of how it gets done. I like it. That's the best part about being a fan. We got no skin in this game, aside from obviously the money you invest into it, your time of day. Okay, we got plenty of skin in the game. But we could be a little more objective and unrealistic at things because we don't have an equitable stake in the team. JJ says, always will have a special place in my heart. He gets too much hate for all he did with us. Good far outweighed the bad. Talking about Zach, I'm assuming. Or not Zach, sorry. Sanchez. Randy says, tired of fans being negative after wins. Like when are we ever going to be happy? Shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride. Yeah! Right? I'm happy. It was weird, right? Like last week after a loss, you feel super confident because it was against the Chiefs and Zach looked really good. This week, Zach looked okay, but it was against the Broncos and we won, and it feels more like a loss than the loss to the Chiefs. It's weird, right? Fans are weird like that. I don't know. Am I the only one that feels that way? I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way. Josh, what's up, dude? He says, win, 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 win. F everything else. Breece! Too many penalties. And we scored 30 like you wanted, Ryan. You're damn right. Let's go 3-3. Aggravating game at times. Zach looks like he can make plays, need confidence. Yeah, I feel like Zach, and I don't know if you've been here the whole time, Josh, but to me, it feels like Zach checked a box today. It wasn't a wow box, but it was like you did everything you needed to do to get us through the game. Just don't turn the ball over. And that's honestly what happened. There was a few fumbles or sacks where he got hit and the ball popped out. We got lucky, got it back. There was the interception. I don't want to see that. If Zach can clean up that and we can clean up the penalties, the Jets are a really good team. This team outplayed the Chiefs. This team outplayed the Patriots. Now, maybe it's not hard to outplay the Patriots because they got a big old fucking donut in the grade book today. Yo, suck a fat one. Bombs over there in New England. It's what I like to see. Bunch of jerks. Fear is Grim says, if AVT is out for a while, do we go after La'el Collins? I hope we do. And I hope there's nothing serious with AVT. They're calling it a calf, but they said, hey, is it the Achilles? And Robert Saleh was like, well, we got to get the MRI. I don't like hearing that. Joseph says, our offseason is proving the Jets' front office is elite. Quincy balled out. The defense just had a rough patch, but they showed up when it counted. They are a bend but don't break defense. There's a lot of yards in between like the 30s, but once you get to like the 30-yard line, lockdown. They grit their teeth. Arrgh. Not going to let them. Not getting past. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. John says Quincy is playing like a man possessed. Completely agree. Completely agree. Quincy has been out of his mind. He is so much fun to watch. Dude, he hits like a heat-seeking fucking missile. Wild. Absolutely wild. One of my favorite players to watch on the team. Randy says, Eagles don't scare me. We just need to spy Hurts. Yeah, and we're going to get those stupid Philly push things, the quarterback push. Just expect to have a few of those a game. It's going to be interesting to see how we match up. I hope we get Reed back. I hope we get Eccles back. I hope we get some of our players back. Like AVT sounds like he's definitely not playing next week based on, the concern that Saleh had for AVT post-conference or press conference. Oreo says, Ryan, before the stream is over, give us the predictions for next week. We have to snap 2 streaks this year. Never beaten Philly, a New England 15-game losing streak starts next week. Oh, man. I'm going to project that we lose to Philadelphia because I would rather be wrong. I think we have every ability to win. We outplayed the Chiefs. We outplayed a lot of teams. We outplayed Buffalo. Like, why can't we beat Philadelphia? They're coming into our house. The Jets' home field advantage this year has been legit. Now, this is a game that we are going to see a lot of Philly fans at, so Jet fans, do not sell your fucking tickets. No selling tickets to Philly fans. No, don't do it. It's right down the turnpike. The Jets can win against Philly. I'll say we'll lose, so that way I can feel good when we win. I feel like I'm like an opposite sort of juju. If I say, oh, I'm confident we're going to win, then it goes the other way. Jonathan, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. My dude. He says, I don't think the interception was all on him. Wilson needs to pull that in if he wants to be an elite wide receiver. Offensive line needs to clean up the flags, and we can beat Philly, to be honest. Jonathan, I completely agree with your statement. I would say I put 65% of the blame on Wilson for that interception. Zach Wilson, 65%. I put 35% on Garrett Wilson. I think the ball should have been to Garrett's back shoulder, which eliminates the possibility of an interception. So if Zach throws it in the correct location, not a pick. I do think that the ball was in such a location that Garrett could have caught it or could have been in position to play defense and knock it down. That's why I put a little bit of that on him. But Zach could have eliminated that possibility by just throwing it to the outside shoulder. But I do agree. Offensive line, clean up the flags. If you're not getting into these 3rd and 12 and 2nd and 20 situations, Jets are going to have a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities to beat some really good teams this year. Eddie says, hey, I'm new here. Great stream. Great win today. Go Jets. Eddie, welcome to the channel. Throw a little JETS action over here. Glad to have you. You got to become one of the regulars. We do this after every game. And then Monday nights, we do the call-in show. And then Tuesday nights, over on the Talking Jets panel, it's myself, O'Leary, and Green Bean. So make sure you sub us all up. Randy says, General Mosley. Mosley's been legit this year. He has outplayed my expectations for where I thought he was going to be this year. To the point where if he's willing to take a bit of a pay cut next year, I would love to bring him back. I think he's going to have way too high of a pay cut, and we're going to save too much money to justify keeping him. But I would love to keep him a little longer. Sherm says the real Bills showed up in London today. Yeah, it was nice to see Jacksonville get the dub. Who New England play this week? They got shut the fuck out. Why am I blanking on who they played? Either way. Couldn't have happened to a worse crew of individuals. Sean also says, and wear the goddamn legacy jerseys. Yeah, we got to switch the legacy jersey full time. Full time. Kevin says, holy crap, what a whirl of wild emotions during this game. Yeah, I was like, fucking roller coaster. Could have strapped a GoPro to me. Would have been all out of your mind. Ah, the Saints. That's right, New Orleans. I forgot. It was nice. I was watching a little bit of that earlier today. Derek Carr slinging the rock all over the place. Screw the Pats. Joseph says the Jets have a real shot against Philly. Philly has looked iffy. There have been plenty of close games. Our defense can be a changing point. Their defensive line is no joke either. Their secondary has become a little bit more suspect. The Eagles, that is. And that concerns me because I think they're going to try and make Zach beat them with his arm. And I don't feel confident right now in that. Not yet. But obviously you start off with the ground and pound, see if you can cause some damage there. I would like to see more screen passes next week, I think. Get Garrett and Breece and even Dalvin out in space and allow them to make a guy miss. That's what I wanted to see a little bit more of today. We did get a little bit of it. Sean says, Clemens is slow as fuck to be shadowing anyone. Clemens looks sluggish. I don't love the weight that he put on. I think it was a nice try, and it just didn't work out. Oh, Radimus, you make me smile. No offense to Matt and the others, Ryan. Ryan is literally and generally the best Jets channel around. Oh, it makes me warm and fuzzy. But no, I love our other boys. We got a Jet content sphere around here on YouTube that's really, really good, but I appreciate it. Kind words always make me feel good. Green King says, do you do college stuff too? So towards the end of the season, we do start watching the college playoff games, and we start like kind of highlighting players that we want to see in the draft. We go through a whole draft process, lots of mock drafts, lots of breakdowns, talking with the Jets X Factor guys and all them. Lots of fun stuff. As far as college football, I've talked about maybe streaming some college games and like having fun with that. But as of right now, I have not kind of pushed that button yet. DeWedge comes in and says, we beat the big bad Broncos. Big deal. Go Jets. Let's see how we do next week. Zach still makes stupid fumbles, but our defense did well. Go Jets. We can beat Philly. DeWedge, you're being a little bit of a negative Nancy. I don't like it. Straighten up, Buttercup. We're coming for a W next week. John Nolte says, in celebration of the Jets win, YouTube released Green Bean from YouTube jail. Yeah, Green Bean got out of YouTube jail. He's finally monetized again. I know how stressful that was. I've been in a similar spot. His was much longer. Mine wound up being like a week. His was like, was it 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was? Fucking horrifying. Got to crack one for Green Bean. Little seltzer. Boycott Activity says, do you think the returning Broncos starters made enough of a difference to say Zach had a decent performance against a good defense? I think time's going to tell. I think he played fine. 73% completion percentage. What was it, 200 yards? Is that what we got out of him? Almost 200 yards. 199 yards and an interception. He did have a fumble. It bounced back to him. I would say there's more I want to see from Zach, but hopefully with the 3 defensive guys returning, maybe it's a stronger defense than we're kind of giving him credit for. Joe says, would love Becton, Warren, Tittman, AVT, and Mitchell. As the O-line going forward, let them build continuity. I'm curious to see if Warren, can Warren play guard? Maybe we find out if he can play tackle a little bit sooner than we were kind of thinking. He seems like a developmental guy. Yeah, I mean, if you could have it where Mitchell is your full-time right tackle and he's earned it, I would love it. But right now, AVT, when healthy, I think should start moving forward before moving back to guard. Randy says, Huff on first and second downs was amazing. He's legit. I think he's going to make himself a lot of money. And if the Jets are smart, they'll pay him. Because I don't want to go against that dude. I would much rather him be on our side, pinning down quarterbacks. I know we just invested a first in Jermaine Johnson. I know we invested a first in Will McDonald. But Huff is special. Don't let special walk out the door. The Highlander Prime says, the creative play calling by the 49ers in tonight's game is what Zach Wilson needs to open up the offense. You should have seen that flea flicker play, Ryan. I love the flea flicker. Although I was not a fan of the flea flicker last week when we did it against the Chiefs because I thought, whatever. But I do really like that. I think Shanahan is a quarterback guru. I think he can make almost any quarterback look good. Literally every quarterback that's gone into his system has looked phenomenal. I was kind of hoping that Sammy D would be able to kind of take the reins over there or at least play. I'm not hoping for Purdy to get hurt, but Purdy having the success he's having after being the last pick in the draft just kind of shows you just how good that team over there is. Justin Osgood says, what do you think the deal with Lawson is? What should we do with him in the future? I would deactivate him. I would try to trade him. Whatever you can get for him. Clear the money off the books. Get a mid to late round pick for him. I don't think he's worth having in the starting lineup. I think the Jets starters in Huff and JJ and McDonald and JFM, those guys all deserve to start ahead of Lawson right now. John comes in and says, Carl Lawson, a healthy scratch. Trade or cut coming. I do think it's possible. I don't know if he'll get cut, but I think he's definitely getting traded, if we can. Woke Hogan says, we need to let Zach loose to beat Philly. It'd be really nice if he kind of had that pressure with his back against the wall and like that kind of emotion that came with the Chiefs game. Would love to see that. Randy says, I think Matt said it. No right tackle can block Huff. Dude, it doesn't look like anyone can block Huff. Not just right tackles. Guys, wildly fast off the edge. Wildly fast. Linky says, Eagles' lowest scoring game is 23. Defense is in for a challenge. Yeah, but who did they play? Who has Philly played? Let's see. Eagles schedule. So right now, the Eagles beat the Patriots by 5 points. They beat the Vikings, scoring 34 points to their 28. They beat the Bucks 25-11. They beat the Commanders 34-31. They beat the Rams 23-14. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Jets can hang with any of the teams that the Eagles have beaten. And I think our offense or our defense can hold all these teams to lower point totals. I think our defense gives us a legit shot to win any game. So even though their lowest scoring game is 23, I think it's going to be lower after we play them. It's just a matter of can our offense actually keep up with what our defense is putting up. John comes in. John says, I think Sammy Darnold was a great draft pick, but we put him in horrible situations. I was so happy when we drafted Sam. I thought he was going to be the guy. If you could flip-flop the Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson picks and have Sam Darnold right now, I think we'd be very, very happy with where we're at. Two different style players, but I think Sam, from a maturity standpoint, was more mature at an earlier age, but I think Zach's coming into his own. I think Zach has more athletic talent. I think Sam was just a better quarterback at the time. We just had worse weapons around him, or no weapons around him. John says, Hardman healthy scratch. Is he the new Mims? It feels like he's in the doghouse. It really does. Joe says, Eagles skill position players are meat sticks. If the Jets don't shore up their tackling, the Eagles skill guys are going to bulldoze them. A.J. Brown is an animal. An absolute animal. We're not going to be able to tackle him with these, launch your body at him style hits. You got to actually wrap this dude up and go low. Joe says, Howell or Zach? I did watch Howell for the first time on Thursday Night Football, and I was not really impressed. But I would say Washington feels like eerily similar to the Jets, where it felt like they could have hung around a little bit longer. I think Ron Rivera is going to get fired. Neither. Is that not an option? Right now, I'll take Zach. Hi, Kung Fu says, we picked Sammy D over Josh Allen. Josh Allen on the Jets is automatic Super Bowl. I don't know if we would have developed Josh Allen the way Buffalo did. I don't think that works in a one-to-one situation. Both teams were on a very similar trajectory at the time of those selections, but the way Josh Allen developed was very reminiscent to the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton, and there's a reason, because Bean and McDermott and all those guys from Buffalo came from Carolina. So Josh Allen became the player he became because of the style of play they were used to playing with Cam Newton. I don't think the Jets do that with Josh Allen, and I don't think he turns out to be the quarterback that he is today. I don't think we would have developed him the right way. Now, you could say in a vacuum, yes, I would love to have Josh Allen over, the last quarterback picks we've made. I like Josh Allen a lot. I think he is, if you were starting a franchise, he's one of your 5 quarterbacks you're probably taking at the top of a draft. What he can do is just so different from a lot of other players. But I don't know if he turns out to be the same thing if he's on the Jets. Randy says, shout out to Aston, Bryce, and Sherwood. We deep. Ashton Davis, Breece Hall, Jamie, and Sherwood. Very much happy with all of them. Ashton comes up with big plays, feels like all the time when he's on the field. Like, his snap to big play ratio has got to be enormous. Breece Hall leaves me frustrated at times, but he gets the scoop and score at the end. Love it. Sherwood had a nice tackle in there today. Like that as well. John says, fast start coaching. Yes. Discipline, maybe a little more so, because I feel like we're getting a lot of penalties and a lot of negative yardage. So some of it is on play calling, some of it is on just boneheaded mistakes, and I feel like that in turn is also still kind of on coaching. Like, make sure you guys are disciplined. They should be running like laps for every yard or something stupid that they have. Like, hey, yo, sorry, fucking stop getting a bunch of yards and no more first downs. No more laps. I don't know. You got to do something different than laps. Guys probably hate you for that. The Wedge says, the quarterback of the Eagles has to go down hard and not get up. Go Jets. I want him to want to think about it and say, do I want to get up or do I want to stay on the ground? I don't want to see him get hurt. I just want to see him not feel like he wants to take another snap. That's what I want to see. Oh, Melvin, I'm sorry, but I don't think that a team that has never lost to the Jets ever and just went to the Super Bowl and is one of the only undefeated teams left, Zach isn't going to do the job. Not with that attitude, Melvin. Sack up. We got Philly this week. Fucking Jets for Life says, can we just get a hell fucking yeah for Belichick having a real night and season? This John Pulo, brother. LOL. Guess he's frustrating people in the chat. It's okay. The conversation's welcome. Boys and girls, I will be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We got our call-in show. And don't forget, tomorrow, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, Richie and I are representing the Jets on the AFC East roundtable. We need some Jet fucking demographic over there because the Dolphins fans represent left, right, and sideways, and friggin' Richie and I are left there twiddling our thumbs with 14% Jet fandom over there. So boys and girls, make sure you head over to the AFC East roundtable. Support our boys tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, we'll be doing the call-in show, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I want to hear all your thoughts on where the Jets season is currently going, how you feel about where we're at right now, how you feel like we're going to do against Philadelphia coming up this week. I'm going to drop the Every Touch video by Breece Hall coming up here in the next hour or so. So make sure you stay on the watch out for that. The Every Throw video is up if you want to take a look at that. Like I said, if you want to support the channel, you can hit the like, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support one of the sponsors of the channel, Underdog Fantasy, sign up with code JETS247. They'll match 100% of your deposit up to $100. So if you enjoy playing some games, having some multiplier action, that could win you a whole lot of money. It's a spot to check out. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. I will see you tomorrow. This is Jets Talk signing off. Jets! 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 Jets!